Appreciate it very much. Coming up on Kudlow, President Obama blasts tax breaks for private jet owners. Is the president practicing job-killing class warfare? We're going to talk exclusively with the president and the CEO of General Aviation Manufacturers Association, and we'll debate whether jobs are going to be lost from this tax hike. That is, if it ever passes. President Obama's Soak the Rich news conference yesterday, it tackled a number of top Democratic talking points like repealing the Bush tax cuts, taxing big oil, demonizing hedge funds, and oh yeah, this one. Please take a listen.
Corporate jet owners. A tax break for corporate jet owners. The tax break for corporate jets, I think it's only fair to ask an oil company or a corporate jet owner that has done so well to give up that tax break that no other business enjoys. You'll still be able to ride on your corporate jet. You're just going to have to pay a little more.
Gosh, if that there isn't an obsession to raise taxes on the upper end, I don't know what is. But despite the president's repeated refrain, actually eliminating the corporate jet tax would put only $3 billion into the Treasury coffers over 10 years. Maybe. Here now we have Democratic policy analyst and syndicated radio host Mark Levine and Peter Bunce, president and CEO of the General Aviation Manufacturers Association. Peter, begin with you. What is the cost in terms of the workers in the general aviation business of this kind of tax hike?
Well, Larry, the cost potentially could be huge. And what's even more damaging is the rhetoric. After the auto execs came to town and at the end of 2008, beginning of 2009, the rhetoric out of the White House and some other politicians severely damaged this industry. We had to lay off over 20,000 workers. And our workforce is already suffering, and where we are suffering the most is in domestic aircraft sales. So when you attack our customers, you attack the manufacturers. And we're trying to put people back to work, and this is an extremely fragile time.
You know, Mark Levine, this reminds me of Papa Bush back in 1990-91 with the Democrats putting a tax on yachts. All they did was put the people who make yachts out of work, and they wound up having to repeal it. What is the point of class warfare when you're putting people out of jobs, Mark?
Larry, you pointed out to yourself, it's a very small difference. Commercial airliners depreciate over 7 years. Corporate airliners, they depreciate over 5 years. The question is, why should very, very rich people, and most Americans don't take corporate jets, why should they get a special tax break when teachers are being laid off, when Americans are asked to give up Medicare?
Produce them. What I'm asking is, I understand that you don't like rich people. I understand President Obama doesn't like people. But what I'm asking you is, when you go after these things, what about the workforce that Peter Bunce is talking about?
Corporations, including those that make corporate jets, are sitting on more cash than they have in 50 years. They got piles of gold. They don't know where to spend it. The reason why people aren't buying is because of demand, not because of supply. If people had more money, they could buy more things. It's not about that. If people want more jets, they'll hire more workers.
Peter, what do you think of that analysis that we both just heard?
Well, it's not just about jets. This depreciation schedule applies to aircraft that have propellers on the front of them, applies to helicopters, and over 50% of the flight time flown by aircraft with propellers in front of them is for business purposes. It costs $300,000, $400,000 just to get into those type of aircraft, and those are the majority of the aircraft that are benefiting from the type of depreciation schedule that we have today. So if we start attacking corporate jets, you're attacking the whole spectrum of general aviation products that add tremendously to this economy.
Yeah, but Pete, most Americans they take Southwest. They go on, I mean, I've never been on a corporate jet. Most Americans haven't been on a corporate jet. The Republicans are asking people to give up Medicare, and you're saying Donald Trump has to pay a few more $100s, and that's a really bad thing? Shouldn't we all have to sacrifice?
If we want to go and talk about depreciation schedules for all types of products, sure. We'll get into that conversation, but when you single out one industry, what you do is you hurt jobs. Yeah, I'm talking about those jobs in Wichita, those jobs in Savannah, those jobs in Little Rock,
if they paid
where
the 7-year depreciation,
hard-working men and women are taking it from the president right now And particularly when he went to Alcoa Aluminum on Tuesday and talked about aircraft production and talked about this great manufacturing we do, and then the following day he attacks General Aviation.
There are hardworking people who make commercial airliners. They don't get this special tax break. There are hardworking people that make cars. They don't get this special tax break. Why should corporate jets get a special tax break that commercial airliners don't get?
Have a 3-year depreciation schedule.
Right.
So it varies across the board, and we get
airliners are 7 years. They were 7 years. Why shouldn't corporate jets be there?
Mark seems to have this. He doesn't understand depreciation schedules. But let me ask you another thing, Peter Bunce. The Machinists Union, one of the most liberal left unions in the country, is up in arms about this. That is what I read, that they don't want this to go through. Is that true? Because it would come from their job ranks?
Absolutely, Larry. They're our partners. Our workforce is our family. And when Tom Buffenbarger says that the president's words have consequences, he means it. When the president goes and talks and attacks this industry, he's attacking those workers in Duluth, Minnesota, those workers that have highly skilled jobs that are paying high tax rates. So all of a sudden, if you go and change this depreciation schedule and less aircraft are sold, we aren't going to be able to hire back that work.
I got to leave it there. That's out of time. Mark Levine, thank you. Peter Bunce, thank you very much. Up next on Kudlow, we're going to take